Welcome to your 2026 energy forecast. I'm your host, Emily McNaughton, and it is such an honor to intuit these messages for you, for myself, for the collective, for this audience. You and I know it has been quite a few years. There's been a lot of inner reflection, a lot of curiosity, a lot of courage. And I posted on Instagram about a month or so ago, 2026 is the year of alchemization. So if you've been following along for the last couple of years, we have been in a refinement phase around what's your inner truth, what's your inner voice, having that personal clarity. And now that personal clarity is being supported and activated in a way where we are going to be experiencing some really wonderful things in real time. And this is how we are going to collectively shift the narrative that's been going on for hundreds of years into a place that's going to be, I can't say a bit softer, I would say a bit more creative. Creative for people, open and freeing. And we're just getting started. All right. So if you know my work, I usually intuit things as we go. And a couple of days ago, when the forecast came through, I was actually called to write it down. So I've got my notes here. And the first thing that came through is we can't unsee ourselves. We can't unsee ourselves. What this means is we are now going to be asked to no longer feel any sort of like negativity towards ourselves, or there might be parts of us that we haven't really been paying attention to. And it's that beautiful truth serum we've been talking about for a couple of years. It's really coming in and saying, all of me is here. All of me is here right now. This means the good, the things that we're feeling called to adapt and change. And it's also meaning that we are being asked to be really happy in our lives. How can we generate happiness? How can we generate contentment? You and I know what our personal purposes, callings, marching orders are to help do our part to shift the greater collective. That's our role, as well as being vessels of embodiment for joy. The guides are saying pure joy, pure joy. So, no longer feeling that unnecessary guilt or doubt when we have times in life that are very freeing and very aligned and very good. Knowing that our life goes through different cycles, different lessons, different seasons, we have to make sure we're really embodying and enjoying and having this expectation of receivership in the best way possible. The universe needs to move through us, and it means it needs to move through all parts of ourselves. Okay, the next one is people are going to be finding their way back to more natural foods, natural fibers, natural products, natural ways of being. They also said that simplification of our lives comes about 3 years later, 3 years down the road. So we are now getting into this place where we understand that how we feel, how our bodies respond when we wear natural products like wool, 100% cotton, for example, how we feel when we ingest a whole piece of fruit versus, say, a lovely buttery croissant. And don't worry, they're not saying all or nothing. So, how is it that we are finding our energy in our body responds to different elements that we present it with? Natural. When they said the simplification, what they were talking about was the simplified way of living. So if you think about right now, how many people, I'm going to pick on Amazon, pretty easy to do. How many people have a Prime membership? How many people are just simply going online and making purchases sort of subconsciously, almost you could say, just ad nauseum, and realizing that that actually is cluttering up their lives and not adding the value to it that they originally thought it did, right? So, and everybody goes through this. So, well, their version of it. So the simplification piece comes years down the road, but you may be noticing different aspects of it right now. Whew, this one, okay, this next one was kind of interesting. They use this term specifically: forced rest, playtime, What do you envision and desire to do when you have freedom? A lot of people are seeking freedom. Freedom through purpose, freedom through career, freedom in life. When you have that, then what? What happens? Now, when we hear the term like forced rest, I naturally start to think of like, would there be a second panini? Does this have to do with AI? And the truth of the matter is, when spirit brings these words forward, we have to remember it's always for our greater good. It's always for our greater good. So, what are the opportunities here? I thought that the rest part was interesting because as a recovering workaholic myself, I can surely say I have found a new relationship with rest that has deeply, deeply, deeply impacted my soul, my earth experience. And I value, and I continue to reframe rest. All right. The other one, I thought this one was so interesting. We are going to begin, I would say this is already happening, opening up to telepathically communicating with one another. I didn't see this one coming, and I think it's really exciting because this is really going to be what tends to help people understand boundaries with energy work. What makes energy work ethical? What makes it unethical? And I'm really excited as we begin to learn how we telepathically communicate with each other. I think it's going to be a wonderful tool that's going to help kind of guide our society and how we're meant to have best practices around energy work, psychic communication, etc. And psychic communication and telepathic are the same thing. Okay. Um, Seeking new purpose in relationships. So instead of I want XYZ from this person, an example would be, oh, this person can give me ABC. This is what I desire. Where will I go fulfill this desire? So seeking new purpose in relationships is as much about seeing ourselves as it is truly seeing the other person. And when we think about this energy, what it feels like to me and what I see, what I was shown, is we can no longer, the way that it was that we can't unsee ourselves, we can't unsee each other. And so expectations are going to have to shift. And at the end of the day, whenever I do sessions with clients and we talk about relationships of any type, friendship, boss, partner, wife, husband, all of that, it always comes back to self. Also, I cannot tell you how many people cannot state exactly what it is they need. They will say it's love or attention or affection, but it's actually deeper than that. So, food for thought there. And then reframing, well, now how am I going to get this in my life? And what is it that this person can actually give me? And then to add to that, they said, am I okay with this? Am I okay with this? Relationships are gonna, I'm gonna be so fascinated to see just how relationships evolve in these upcoming 7 years. Really interesting, especially as people are continuing to find their voice. Okay, the other note, the next note is food. The food industry is going to have an overhaul because of exposure. I live in America. It is becoming common knowledge, the problems with our food and the food industry. So this one surprised me a bit, but it looks as though there will be some information coming to light that the general public cannot ignore. They also said they've been keeping things from us. they've been keeping things from us. So we're familiar with the different dyes. If you are empathic and have played around at all with how sugar will impact you, if you go without sugar, and I'm not talking about fruit, that doesn't count because that has fiber in it and natural vitamins and minerals, but I'm talking about processed sugar. If you eat processed sugar after you haven't had it for a while and notice how you actively respond, it is wildly eye-opening. What I really want to say is that it's scary. And by the way, I love sugar, so I'm right here with y'all. But I thought that was really interesting. So, food industry overhaul, there will be exposure, things that they've been keeping from us. Ooh, all right. The next one is lighting. I don't know how this one's going to turn out, but lighting will matter more than ever. In a house clearing I did, her guides provided her with information. So I guess she used to light a lot of candles. She hadn't lit some candles in a while, and it had been about a year. And they brought up the elements of lighting candles again. And I think we all feel the harshness of the fluorescent lighting, different types of LED lighting. You know the drill. So, lighting will matter more than ever. Now, we do not know which way this is going to come through. It remains to be seen. Maybe you're already experiencing this. Next, creativity. Creativity. How can you allow yourself to be fully happy as you create? How can you allow yourself to be fully happy as you create? Creativity is something that for me, I struggled with for a long time. And now it like charges me to move forward and just create for the sake of creating. And I certainly did not get there overnight. And I have had many ebbs and flows with it. With the way our journey is going, creativity is going to gently, for some, it's going to feel a bit abrupt, become the currency. Creativity of voice, of expression, of art, of wisdom, of stories, of work, of play, of pleasure, creativity. So, can you allow yourself to be fully happy in your creativity? And that's also whatever happiness means for you. So, whew, we're healing a lot of things. We're healing a lot of things. However, we are bringing in so many uplifting experiences. What the energy looks like, what it physically looks like for 2026 is it's still a tiny bit cloudy, which means we still don't have the full bigger picture. However, we are riding up through the clouds. Clear skies to come. And why not enjoy the ride and have fun along the journey, along the way? Thank you so much for being here, bringing all of you into this world. Your light, your shadows. 2026 is going to be an incredible year. We are in this together. Thank you for being a part of the Inner Light community. Please be sure to subscribe. I would love to hear your feedback. Which parts of this have you been feeling already? Which parts are you curious and excited about? And until then, enjoy the rest of your year, and I will see you in 2026. It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. As you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.